Yo guys, how's it going? AKMoto here. Today I'll be showing you guys how to change the transmission oil out in a two-stroke dirt bike, more specifically today a YZ125. This is pretty much the same process for all YZ or just any two strokes. Over here I have a CR I'm working on right now, and as an example it's pretty much the same as my YZ. You have your oil fill right here, oil check bolt, and then your drain plug's pretty much in the same spot. But today I'll be showing you guys how it's done on my two-stroke dirt bike. This is a 2018 Yamaha YZ125, but again it's pretty much the same for pretty much all two-stroke dirt bikes. Alright, so here's everything you'll need to change out your oil. Of course you will need some oil, and these are two oils I've ran. Here I have some Yamaha 10W40 engine oil, all-purpose oil, and this stuff works great if you're more on a budget. And yes, it works on other bikes besides Yamaha's. And then here I have some Maxima Mtl Fluid, which I use in my bike. This stuff's great. I've used it since I've had my 85. I really can't say which one's better. This one costs a little more, so it's probably better. But I mean, I've ran them both in my YZ125, and I can't say I've noticed any difference. But yeah, those are two really good oils. This stuff is a little more if you're kind of on a budget or just don't want to spend as much on oil. Then this stuff is good if you just really want a high quality oil. Keep in mind, transmission lube only really lubricates the clutch and the gears. So I mean, at the end of the day, honestly, two-stroke transmissions aren't that picky, but this is just what I use. Then on some other bikes I use this stuff as well. Both great oils. And fun fact, this is actually what my manual calls for right here. So this is more than enough for my bike. But again, I run this stuff. I spoil my bike, I know. And then over here, we have some mixing cups. You're gonna need a mixing cup and probably a funnel, unless you're like a magician or something. But here we have two really common mixing cups. We have Maxima Quick to Mix and some Ratio Right, which is, I'm pretty sure, the brand Ratio Right. Basically they do the same thing, just measurement cups. But I like this Maxima Quick to Mix because it has a lid. And what I did was I bought a few of these bottles, so I have one for premix, and this one I'm going to be using for transmission oil, as you guys may or may not be able to see. I have labeled out, it's for transmission oil. And then for my 18 YZ125, I put the amount right there so I don't have to flip through my manual every time. So that makes it super convenient, and then again a lid so I don't have to really clean it out every time. Over here I have some soapy water and some shop towels. These are just kind of for cleanup if you get oil on anything or just kind of want to clean around your drain bolt. Just use some soapy water and some shop towels. Contact cleaner works fine as well. Then over here I have my manual and also my phone. But yeah, if you have your manual, it will say in your manual how much transmission oil you need and what type. Let's see if I can find it right there. They'll say what type they recommend and how much of it. Or you can just do a Google search on your phone. And there's also another way you can figure out how much oil you need to add. And then of course a tool to remove your drain plug. Here I'm just using a ratchet with the socket extension. But yeah, T-handle, ratchet, whatever floats your boat. Another way you can figure out how much oil you need is often it'll be stamped somewhere on the clutch cover or the case, but also you have this oil check pull. Basically you can take this out, fill some oil in, and once some oil starts to drip out of here, you can throw that back in and you're good. Now you got to be really careful when using that bolt that the bike is on a stand, like a traditional MX stand like this one here. You got to make sure it's level. And you got to make sure the bike's not rocked one way or another too much, because you want the engine to be as flat as possible so you can get an accurate reading using that bolt. But of course if you're measuring out, you shouldn't really have to worry about that too much. And here's another example on an 03 CR125 engine. We have the amount here and also the check bolt right here. And then the drain bolt is under there. And then up there we have the fill bolt. Now when it comes to holding up your bike, you have a few options. You can use a stand like this that has a little hole in the middle, allowing you to access your drain bolt, or you can use a triangle like this to hold your bike up, or you could simply lean it up against a wall, or just have someone hold it up if you really want to try that out. But yeah, generally I just use the triangle. It's the easiest for me. It slides in the axle and leans the bike over. So let's get this bike ready for an oil change. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and remove my little lift stand, and I'm going to insert a triangle into the rear axle so we can get this bike held up and have free access to our drain bolt. Alright, first we will start by dropping the old oil. So we'll throw our drain pan under there. Alright, now that we have our drain pan in place, I'm going to go ahead and take out the fill bolts. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and loosen my drain bolt up, and I do have a skid plate, but luckily it has a little cutout hole, so I can access my drain bolt just fine. For me, the bolt is a 14mm, but I believe stock it's like 12mm. I'm not entirely sure though, but I do have an aftermarket drain plug, so that may vary a little bit. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Shouldn't be too tight. Now we're just going to pull it all the way out. There we go, and when you feel it's fully out of the threads, you want to pull it away really quick so you don't get oil all over your hand. Oh, didn't bring the bolt with me. Alright, here we go. Oh, there we go. Over time you get good at it. Now here, to make sure I get most of that old oil out, I'm going to actually tip the bike over, rock it back and forth a little bit to where it's leaning to the right. Now it's upright. Now it's leaning to the left. I'll just do that a little bit. Of course, you're never going to get 100% of the oil, but I'll get most of it. Alright guys, so here I have the drain bolt I just took out. As you can see, I have an aftermarket one, so it has a little magnet on the very end. Most OEM ones don't come with magnetic tips though. And one way to test if yours is magnetic is just to take it, stick it on the side of anything metal. If it sticks or even has a good amount of resistance, it's probably magnetic. But a lot of the times you can see the little magnet, and a lot of OEM ones don't really have a magnet. But yeah, that's just a little something I bought one day. It's an aftermarket piece. It's a Tusk drain bolt, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now, one thing I like to do is get my crush washer, dip it in a little bit of oil. You guys can't see, but this cap is full of, not full, but has a good amount of oil in it. And I just submerge the little crush washer there. And now that it's covered in oil, I'll put it back on the drain bolt. And that'll basically prevent it from sticking to the drain bolt or the case. So yeah, it just makes taking off the drain bolt or the washer a little bit easier for next time. Now honestly, it is up to you if you want to replace a little crush washer on there every oil change or not, but I don't. I go like 2 or 3 oil changes, maybe even more, before I replace it. But if you have no idea how long you've had yours on there and it looks pretty hammered, looks pretty crushed, maybe even a little corroded, it's not a bad idea to switch them out. They're really not that expensive. And here I have an aluminum one, and they also sell copper ones as well. Most bikes will come OEM with a copper one, but some aftermarket ones are just made of really soft aluminum, like I have here. Now we are just going to reinstall our drain bolt. I apologize if this is going to be a really crappy angle. I'm trying to do this, hold the camera with one hand and reinstall my drain bolt with the other hand, but you can kind of see it in there a little bit, maybe not, but yeah, I'm just going to, if I can get it lined up, there we go. Throw it back in. And again, I put a little oil on the crush washer just to keep it from sticking to the bolt or the case. This is really hard to do. Sorry about the crappy angle, guys. Now we're just going to snug this up. Now the torque spec for this bike is actually 14 foot-pounds for my 2018 Yamaha YZ125. But here I just go in with the ratchet I used earlier. And I just like to snug it up so I feel some resistance. And there we go. And then it stops. So here I have my hand kind of on the edge of the ratchet. I'm not trying to force it, but here it stops. It's completely seated. It's completely snug. You'll kind of feel when you're doing it in person. It's kind of hard to describe, but you'll feel it get kind of tight all of a sudden, and you'll kind of know that the bolt's seating. And then you just want to give it a little bit extra, but boop, and you're good. Just a little bit more of a turn right after it's snug. I like to call it snug plus. Just snug it up, and then just like a tiny little turn. Yeah, you don't want to strip out these threads, and the bolt doesn't need a whole lot of torque to it because it has a crush washer. But yeah, I would recommend if you don't have a lot of experience mechanically, just pick up a torque wrench, get a decent quality one too, and just torque it down to whatever your manual says, and mine says 14 foot-pounds. So here I am measuring out the amount of oil I need. Unfortunately, I need 22.4 ounces of oil, and my measuring cup only goes to 17. So all I'm going to do is measure out 17 flat, and then I'm going to measure out 5.4 ounces, and 17 plus 5.4 hopefully makes 22.4. And if my math is incorrect, well, that's going to be pretty embarrassing. So I'm going to measure out 17 ounces of oil, then I'm going to add that into the bike, then I'm going to add in 5.4. Alright, now I'm going to add my 17 ounces of transmission oil into the bike here with the funnel. And now I'm going to add my 5.4 ounces of oil. And there we go, guys. We now have 22.4 fluid ounces of fresh transmission oil in the transmission engine, whatever you want to call it. So now we're just going to take this little funnel out. Now we're going to clean off our fill plug here. Make sure we have no dirt on that O-ring or around the threads or anything. Maybe I'm weird, but I just like to get a little bit of transmission oil dabbled on that O-ring. I just like to spread it around the O-ring just so that O-ring doesn't kind of stick to the case, I guess. Now we're just going to simply screw that back in. And there we go, we are good to go as one happy tranny. Now I'm just going to pour all my used oil here into a slightly bigger container for transportation. Now most of the time a lot of auto parts stores like AutoZone, O'Reilly, Advanced Auto, to name a few, will take your used oil, or you can take it to your town or city's recycling center, and a lot of times they'll take it too. And guys, please do not dispose of your oil illegally. Some examples of that would be pouring it down the drain, or putting it down a rain ditch, or just straight up pouring it into the environment. Not only is it bad for the environment, but like I said, it is illegal. So please get it properly recycled. Again, auto parts stores or a local city recycling center will take it for either a small fee or a lot of times, most of the time, for free. So yeah guys, just wanted to mention that. Take care of your old oil. Alright guys, there we go. We are all done with the transmission oil change. The bike is all good to go. Now again, I do my transmission oil changes every 10 hours. That's what's in my manual, so that's just what I go by. And yeah, so if you guys have any additional tips and tricks that you guys have, feel free to leave them down in the comments below just to help out some other people. And yeah, I tried to keep this simple for you guys. And yeah, I'm gonna say that a million times for this outro, but hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Sorry I kind of ran dry on content for you guys, but I promise there's some more coming very soon. Now if you guys haven't seen the video I did on how to mix two-stroke gas, click it right here in the top right of the screen if you want something else to watch, or you just want to know how to mix gas, whatever. So hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.